a new automation process technique and the most powerful technique, which is called flows. Okay, so it is very crucial for you to understand flows very well. And there are some additional sessions which I will give it to you today. You should complete those sessions, trailheads. And there is I think a Bengali video also I have done for you want to go through that. If you are facing any trouble, you can use that video. Otherwise, if you are understanding, there is no need to go through that video. I will share that also, wherein we have detail explain about flows more. Okay, so if you go to the flow, new flow, you will see that the flows are of 5 types. As we said, that flows are more powerful than the process builders or workflows. Many reasons. First is Screenflow. Screenflow means a flow in which you can create some screens. We'll come to this a little later. It's a little more advanced than the record trigger flow. Record trigger flow is just a flow, which is a logic that fires when a record is saved. Quite similar to workflow or process builder. The only difference is workflow and process builders always fires after the record is saved. Flows can be fired before saving of the record and after saving of the record, both. Okay, so let's see the record triggered flow first. We will not talk about. We will just cover these 3 flows, which is the most used flows you will be using in your org. Platform event flow and auto launch are little advanced topics. We will not cover this. Okay, so let's see this. Let's try to do the same thing using flows today. What we did last then, that is auto creation of contacts. Before doing that, let's stop the process. We don't want. Oh, we can create this one also. Let it be there. So what we do is we are running on account object. We want to run this on account create and update. You can also set conditions, and we will do one. As you see, this is very advanced. So you can have or conditions, and conditions, custom conditions, or even use formula evaluates to true. Okay, so that's a new one. You can use this one if you for complicated situations. So we'll have the same thing. Equals needs to be yes, and this is critical. Every time a record is updated and meets the condition requirement, and only when a record is updated and meet the condition requirements. It's quite similar to what we saw in workflow. Last 2 options, right? So do you want this to fire when the condition record, the value of the active field changes and it meets the condition, or you want to fire this all the time? So it depends on these 2. So let's fire it once when it meets conditions. And this is very important. That is, what is this one and what is this one? This one is before saving, and this one is after saving. When should we use this? When should we use this? If you are making any change to any of the fields of the record which is firing this flow, which record is firing this flow?
Account.
Anybody?
Account record.
Sorry? Account record, right? So object is account. So the account is when is saved. That means the record which is firing the flow is account. If you are making any changes of any of the fields, that means you are auto calculating any value, appending any value, updating any value of that fields of that record itself, then use this one. If you are doing changes to any other records except the record which is firing this flow, then you should use this. Clear?
Yeah. So that means that is basically after save events.
It is after saving. So all the records changes which should happen on any other records must happen after the actual record which has fired the flow should fire. Okay, that's the best practice of Salesforce, and it is ingrained in this flows. Before save is for the record, after save is for any other records, right? For this situation, we are creating a new contact record. That means we are dealing with a record which is not the record which is firing the flow. That means a new contact record. So we'll use this option. We'll also see how this option works. We'll come back to it. So there are 2 ways in which you can create this. One is auto layout and one is free form. Whatever is your easier way, you can choose it. So here you can have to drag and drop these options, and if you choose auto layout, you best just need to use the same here. You will get to see this. I will use the freeform right now so that you can have a look on what are the different things you can do. Okay. So here, what are these? These are the elements or the actions which you can perform in this flow. Okay, we'll go one by
It
one.
looks like a flow chart.
It is like a flow chart. It is a flow chart, and it fires. That's the only difference. The flow chart does not fire. It is just an algorithm representation of your logic. Here, the logic actually fires. That's the difference. By the way, who asked that question?
Shubham.
Shubham, right? Okay, that's fine. We are absolutely right, Shubham. So what we are going to do here, we are going to create a record. So this is the create record. Let's drop it here. And we say create auto contact. How many records are we creating? One. All values from a record. What is this? I will talk about it. And use separate values and literal values. So we will use separate resource and literal values. So let's use this one. Select the object which we want to create, contact. And let's go to fields. What is the field? Last name is the mandatory field. You have to fill it up, right? In contact. Please remember that. It's very important. Now, it is very important that where do I fill this value? If you remember that I wanted to fill the last name from the account name, right? This is the dollar record is the global variable which Salesforce is creating for us, which you can access to get the field values of that account. So you have to select this one. And after dot, you will see all the fields of that account record. So here we are, you can type it here also. It will come. So account name, right? I want to put some automatic text after that, right? So let's see contact. It's a hard-coded text. You don't need comma or sorry, the quotations or something. So record name hyphen contact, right? That we want to put it. First name, just hard-coded auto. Right? That's what we wanted to do. Let's see auto flow. That we understand process builders contact and our contact is different. What else? We need to associate this contact with the account which is firing this flow, right? Which field should I need to populate?
Account ID.
Account ID. Here, this is account ID. Where will I get the account ID from?
Record.
From the
Record variable.
Record.id. Yeah.
.id. Yes.
Here is the account ID. So that's it.
Yes.
Please select this. Don't type it across. Still, you see this blue way. That means it has correctly accessed it. So please hold on to that. So that's it. Then I will join this and save this. And we'll say create auto contact using flow. Try to name a flow in camel cases. That means every word should be in capital X, to a space, and try to give a proper meaning that what this flow is actually doing. Best naming conventions. It is very important to follow that. Saved.
Dada, question.
Go ahead.
Dada, after saving this flow,
Hmm.
when flow also have API name, can we change that API name later? If when we just rename that flow?
We'll see this one. Let's see. Are you able to change this?
No,
You are
I'm
not
not getting the. Yes.
You will not be able to do that. And I
Yes,
will
that
talk
API
about. Yeah, you have to create a new one. So here it is very
Okay.
important that you activate it.
Yes, Dada.
Okay. Without activating, just like workflows or process builders, it will not fire. We'll also talk about debug and view test these things. Debug is how we can test this before even actually activating it. Yeah, you can test this using some data. You see, if you go to debug, it will ask for any test account you want to give it, and you can test it out. If you are facing any trouble, you are not understanding that what is happening, it will show you the whole path. Let's see the path. Let's go to any account. Test process 1. Auto process only one contact is there, right? So let's take this ID. What is the name? Test process 1. Yeah, this is the ID. Start condition we can skip if you want. Okay, and you can say that I want to fire this for created mode or updated mode, whatever you can set. You can assign it. So I don't know if this contact is set to active or not. Yes, it is active, so no worries. So run. You see, it fired. It is also rolled back. It created a record, okay, and it also rolled back the record because it's a test, right? You don't want actual record to be created. So if you refresh it, you will not get any new contact created, but we will fire it here now. Okay. So this is a test mode. I have and see this is now got bold, and what are the steps? I can see this now. This
yeah. Animesh, how actually you understood it is not facing any error because it's created the records in this screen, right?
Yeah. Here, if you are facing any error, it will show up that there's an error step, or it will stop. This yellow bar will stop there, and then there are next actions. It will not go there. It will show a cross sign. Okay. We can see this in more detail. We'll give more complicated flows today as different assignments, and you can work it out.
Oh, sure.
Okay. First assignment is, of course, to create your total poster. Okay. And then the other assignments will follow. Anyway, so this is basically how a flow debugging can be done. So now we will actually fire the flow. So let's go back to the account, this account itself. Let's do a create mode. Let's test in on a create mode. So we'll test flow this time. And that's it. We'll set this active as yes. I think annual revenue needs to be put because that was that's it. And we can now see this is the auto flow which is creating the record, and this is the basically the process builder which is creating the record. So both are firing, isn't it? So here now you see the test flow contact is basically getting fired, and this record is getting created and getting associated. So it's the same thing which you can do using a flow. Let's go back now and create a before flow. Again, record triggered. Again on account. Again on created and edited. This time, I will stop this nuisance of annual revenue. Annual revenue is null true. That means if I have annual revenue, I have not filled any annual revenue. Right? Every time, this time I am firing it for every time a record is updated. I will check if annual revenue is blank. I want to autofill this. Right? Let's go back and auto layout. I will change this to again free form. You see, it is very important. This time, I have a very less number of elements. So in before flow and after flow, I have a very different set of elements. So let's see this one. Let's also open this one side by side, and we can see this. So see, the before flow is allowing only these. After flow is allowing so many. Right? Okay. Here, it is important to understand that there is an update record option there, but for changing any elements or any field values of your current record, you do not need to use update record or get record at all. Get record and update record is only for any record which is not the record which is firing the flow. Please remember that. So in before trigger, before flow, you can update some other record, not create any new record. Clear?
But then Animesh, how the other records ID we are getting, because this is a before save?
Yes, very good question. That is the reason we have to do a get record first, then update that record.
Oh, okay.
Get record is just like a query. In Workbench, we do a query, get the ID or any other field values, check that, do the logic and update it. But please do not use these two in before trigger until it is absolutely critical. Usually it is not a good practice to do get record and update record in before trigger. That's why we will not follow this. So how do I update the field value? Like annual revenue, I want to put it right, so that it does not ask me questions every time. It will be done through just a simple assignment. What is that? Update annual revenue. Which variable am I updating? The record, right? Annual revenue equals, let's put a hard coded value, 10,000. Yeah, done. Auto populate annual revenue when blank. Activate. Right? Now let's go back to our account once again and let's do a new create. So test flow. This time I am not going to fill up the nuisance called annual revenue. See, since it is firing before the saving of the record, that's why your validation rule bypasses it, because it has fired before save and it has already hard coded the 10,000. It is not asking me the value. Clear?
Yes.
What if I want to make changes on this again? I made some mistakes and I want to change this, or I have got a new requirement so that I have to update it. What you can do is that you can go and do a save as. Okay, let's do some changes first. So first, what we will do is that this time, instead of use separate values and literal values, I will use all values from a record. What is a record? A record is basically a record. Record means any record. Now, I don't have a record. I can use the record from this record variable. If I use this one, then all the value of the account will go and start using. That is not the case, right? This will not work because this record is an account record. But here, for creating an auto contact, I need a contact record. So I don't have a contact record. So here I can create a new resource. What is this new resource? New resource is a variable. These are all these things which can be done using variable. We are using a variable now. So we'll say new contact. Data type is of course a record now. Okay. I can have a list type of variable also. I have to tick this one. That will become a collection. Ideally, if you are working with many records, like I want to create 5 contacts, in that case, you should create a list. You should always also create a new contact and populate that list and only fire this update record directly on the list. Don't fire update record one by one on each value. Okay. Which object are we creating? Contact, right?
Contact.
Here it's contact. So I have now created a variable kind of a new contact. This is in memory. It's just creating a contact variable. Simple. Contact record variable.
Yes.
Okay. You can also create text variable, currency variable for individual fields if you want. But here, because I need to create my contact, here. So what different, see, now I am not using each value. I'm not assigning each value. So I have to assign now, right? So I will delete this. I will put an assignment variable here. Populate contact fields. Now the record which you have created, that is the variable record, it is not storing in database. It is not actually getting created. It is in memory. When it fires, it just creates. It's just like there are two ways of taking a bath in the morning, right? When you get up and you decide to take a bath, what you can do is that you can directly stand below your shower and you can like switch on the water, and the water directly falls on your head, right? So here you are not, you are directly using the water, and you are using the water directly for bathing. The other alternate is to like open your tap, put the water in a bucket, store it there for a while, and then you use a mug or any kind of a thing to take a shower. Like you use that bucket water and fill it. So think the variables as buckets. If you need that bucket, then create the bucket. If you don't need the bucket, then don't use the bucket. It is your technique, your ways of doing it. We will recommend using the bucket. That means recommend using variables, but it is up to you to decide what is the approach you are going to take. Okay. So now, which variable are we filling it up? This assignment is not on the record. We are filling this variable one by one. The first name, which was auto flow. Again, last name. We are filling this variable just like we are filling a contact record, right? Similar, because it's behaving like a record. It is still not stored in database though. Okay. What are we filling it up here? Now we are using the account object to get the name, and then I will put a contact. And of course, we need to assign this to the account, right? So we'll use the account ID equals to record. Good. Are you able to understand step? So we have now filled up our variable and three properties of our variable. Now I connect this and I connect this to this. Simple. Because in create record is basically now using this record variable. So if we are using a assignment variable and use a variable, then this create record becomes very simple for you. Yeah. And then save it. Here you have two options: a new version you can create or a new flow you can create. If you are making minor changes on that flow, we'll always recommend to create a new version, and we'll see how that works. Please remember, after you save it, create a new version, you have to activate it once again. Otherwise, the old version will fire again. Clear? Now let's test it once again. New account, test flow 3. Active is yes. We have autoflow 2. This is firing now. Okay, so that's the difference. So the flow is firing. So here, one step in between, we have created variable, populated the variable, assigned the fields of that variable, and then we have used that variable to create the record. If you do not keep this step, then even the variable is created, there will be no contact at all. Nothing will get created in the database. Okay, please remember that. Okay, so there are some other things which you need to take. This is a decision logic. Decision logic is where you decide what kind of decision you want to take. So you have a condition. This is the outcome of that condition. When this condition is satisfied, then one flow fires, and this is the else loop. This is the other outcome. If you want to have any kind of a logic, like if I remove this, condition from here, active equals yes. If I remove this, and I can put the decision here, and I say is account active, check account active. What is the order? Active account. What are we checking? We are checking record active equals yes.
True.
Right?
Okay.
If the conditions are met, so we can fire this again. These two are same. If the condition is met, means every time it will fire. If the record is triggered to the flow to update the condition, that means the active value has changed to become yes. In that case, it will fire. So I can assign this to this, and when I assign this to this, it will ask which flow is it, active account or default account. The default outcome is false, so I will say this, and it is done. If I want to do something else, then I can create another task here, and decision box will have the default flow there. Clear?
Yes.
So in these actions, you can do a lot of things. Let's put an action here. You can say that I will fire some kind of a notification. That's custom notification. There are many things which you can do using these actions. So let's see, email. Send simple email. Here you need a subject and body. You say label no, not active. And you say flow did not fire. And whom I want to send this? I want to send this to recipient email address. It is record dot Pune. I think it works this way. Yeah, this is a collection field. We have to create a collection and do that anyway. So I will probably use this user. Yeah, I have to create in a collection and then store it anyway. This is a little complicated stuff. Anyway, we can fire the email from these other steps. Okay. And you can, of course, save this. I am showing the different techniques which you need to do that. You can also,
one question. So when you link these decisions with this assignment, this system has two options, right? Active account and default account. Right. So
sorry, come again.
When you just link up this decision box with the assignment, so it's, SFDC has this two, like whom to connect, whether it is active.
Right now there are two flows because I have only two flows, but you can create multiple flows if you want. You can have active account, non-active account, blank account, anything.
Okay. So actually, this is asking for the flow name to which you want to connect.
That's correct. Active account is the exactly this outcome. This default outcome is the else block, which does not need any formula. Whatever is, if it is not going into this outcome order, then it will go to default order.
Okay.
So it will check one by one these conditions. If the first condition is met, then it will go in that. If the second condition is met, then it will go into that. So, but one of the conditions will only fire.
Okay.
You can use loop. Usually, you will use loop for iterating over a collection. For example, you have a collection to create from a collection. That means you have number of records. Like I have said that based on the number of contacts you have, create one opportunity for each contact. Then what will you do? You will fire a flow, do a get record, and get all the contacts of that account, store it in a collection variable, go through a loop, and then create another collection variable, that is opportunity collection variable, and then fire the update and create the opportunity. Right?
Yeah.
So these can be very complicated flows. It can take 4 or 5 hours for you to finish.
Yeah.
Take your time and do this kind of scenarios. Create hypothetical scenarios which you want to create. Another situation in which you will need get records to be done is when you want to select the record type. We'll discuss record type in a while. So this is the whole logic about flow. Now, let's talk about the other flow, which is called Screenflow. This does not have a screen, right? We did not create any screen till now. But we can create a screen also in a flow. So let's go to the screen. This is the screen. Again, I will change this to freeform for you to have a look. What are the things we can do? In Screenflow, of course, we have to need to have a screen. Let's create a contact using Screenflow. Yeah. So you have a field called name, which is all automatically you can use directly. So it will give you first name, last name. And here see contact details. Okay. And done. Invalid component, sorry. So I have a first starts, it will open up a screen for me. And what I need to do, then I will create a record. That's it. What is new? Create contact. Create auto contact. Is what? Not auto. Create manual contact. Okay. I'm doing this manually. Okay. So again, I can have an assignment variable, or I can directly use the separate list. I will use separate list once again. Reason being, let's see that. So I will choose contact. And the benefit is that what are the fields I need to populate? Last name. From where? Do I had at the rate? Where is the at the rate record?
It will be from screen.
Yeah.
Screen component need to find.
Yes. Because this is not firing when the record is saving, right? This is a screen. This needs to be fired. Where from it can be fired? We'll see that. So let's see. First and foremost, I need to take the screen component. This is the screen component. And here I have the last name. So I will map it here. Yeah. Then I have the first name. And I will map it here. Right? But where is my account ID? I don't have a field to pass account ID. Right? The account ID is not there with me. In order to pass a value to a flow, you have to create a variable. Okay. How do I create a variable? I can create a variable directly from here. New resource.
Yes.
But this time I will only create a variable which is called account ID. Right? What is the data type?
Text.
Text. This time I will tick this one. What it says, availability outside the flow. That means I have to pass a value to this variable.
Yes.
Where will I pass? That will decide later. Right now, this is my flow. I can create a new contact variable also and assign these values and then use that here also. Up to you to decide how you want to do it. Yeah. So I'm not using a contact variable in this. I'm directly assigning the screen values into contact create record. But you can also put a assignment variable, create a new contact variable, assign the values, and then do it. Yeah, it is up to you to decide how you want to do it. So this is my flow. I save it. Create contact. This flow makes no sense because standard button is already there. But anyway, we are going through a hypothetical situation. So we definitely need to activate it. Otherwise, this is not available. Where can I use this flow now? Here.
To create a button.
So this is the account, right? A contact makes sense to be created from an account. First, we'll see how can I change this layout and bring a flow. Flow can be embedded inside a screen. It can also be fired from any of these buttons or actions, as we say, right? We'll see both the approach. First approach is how can I change this value? There is an easy way. Here you can do edit page. The other option is you can go to the same object manager, go to account. I am creating this flow on an account object, right? Not on the contact object. Please remember this. So that I can associate the account with the contact. So here we also have record lightning pages. By default, there is nothing because I am using the standard lightning page of this. But if I go and create a edit page from here, or I can go and create a new one here, it basically will copy and it will say what kind of page is that, app page, home page, or record page. This is basically a record page because it is basically opening and giving details of a record. Home page is this one and app page is a different thing. Okay, so we are using a record page. Here we are modifying our default record page and we'll say contact, account customers. Each object account. We can have different type of pages. What you can use, I can clone Salesforce default page, and I think account full view default, record view for lighting. I think record view, yeah, group default view is fine. Let's use this one. This is the actual page. It copied from there. Whatever is the default view of account we have. Here, I have on the list many things which I can do. So here I will drag the flow into any section I want. Let me put it here. When I drag this into this page, I can now see that flow, create contact manually. Yeah. Here, when I use this, and save it and activate it. I can make it a org default. This record page, I can make it org default, which all users can see it. I can make it app default. That means only this applications, that means whatever is the current app, only there it will work. Or I can make it work only for some records, some profiles, some people. Yeah, let's make it org default, desktop and phone, and save it. Okay, now if I click on this one, the layout is one column, but here you see pass the record ID into this variable. So this component automatically is showing that there is a parameter which I can pass. And if I tick this, pass record ID into this variable, that means the account ID is now passed into the flow. Any questions?
Yeah.
Now save it. If you save now and refresh the screen, You see, now the flow is opening up here. Test manual one. Next. Done. You see, text manual contact is getting created automatically. So the flow is embedded now in the page, record page, and we are firing it. You can embed this on home page also if you want.
So, Animish, when we create the screen flow, we had 3 buttons, no? Previous this. So
No.
Here it's coming only.
Here there was only one screen, that's why. In this screen, you have only one screen. If you have multiple screens, then you will have next, previous, and stuff. Okay. It will automatically change. You don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
So we have seen how a flow is firing from embedded screen. You can also fire it from here. How do I create actions? This is very critical and very important for you to understand. Here, if you are on the record page, you have a custom record page itself. Then you can upgrade this record page to a upgrade now, dynamic actions. If you make dynamic actions enabled, then what will happen is that this record page, you have to add the actions on this record page. If you add actions on this record page, the default options will not work. What is the default option? So this is the last level of overriding. Okay, you can add, but till now, if you do not upgrade this to dynamic actions, what will happen is that your actions will be directly pulled from your page layout. Okay, so let's see where. So many times you'll see that I have created an action, it is still not showing on the page. So go and check that there is a dynamic actions already created or not. Okay, so here we have discussed many things: fields, relationship, page layouts. What is page layouts? Let's discuss this first. So we have seen you can create the page layout for account, and that page layout is basically used to open this whole view, right? This is the page layout. So this entire page is record page, and just this detail section is called page layout. Okay, so if you do edit also, new also, everything is using the same page layout. Okay, so I can have multiple page layout. I can assign it to multiple users. You see page layout assignments. How? If you see page layouts, we'll go see more details about this. Type of users is listed here. Type of users is called profiles. Okay, a user will always have a profile. One user will always have a profile. So what kind of user is that? It is decided by the profile, and this page layout can be assigned directly to that kind of user. Like I am a system administrator. My user is system administrator type of user. That's why I will always get account page layout. If you want to have user type based layout, then you can directly assign it from here. If you want that layout to change not only based on the user type, but also based on the record type, what kind of record it is, then you have to create a record type. What is a record type? Record type means you want a different display of the record. If you want a different display of the record, in that case, you need to create a record type. That means what kind of account, based on that, the layout will change. If I want to use that. So how do I resolve it? Like something like, do I have a type here? I don't know. I don't think we have a type. We have a type here, right? So there are like what are different kinds of accounts are there, right? If I want to have a separate layout for all these kinds of records, all these kinds of accounts, then I have to use a record type. Account type will have individual record types, and that record type and account type together will decide which page layout will be used. A little complicated process, but you can do that. Let's create two kinds of record. Existing record type master, that means the default record type, by default there is no record type. So I will say high, I will say large account. I will make it available. This record type, I can make it available for every user, all kinds of users. What does it mean? That means all of these users can create a record of this type. And which page layout should I use for? Maybe sales type. Save. I will now create another record type. I will name it small account. I will make it active. I will make it available to all people again, so they can choose between any type. Now, what is the fun? We'll see. I will use support layout for this one. So what does it, if I create two record types, how does that impact the layout? Now, if I go and check the layout assignment, now we'll see it is not that simple. It is now saying like this. Anybody who can create large account or can see large account or can edit large account will large account type of record account, then they will go and use the sales layout. If they are they have ability to create small accounts or edit small accounts, then they will use the support layout. Otherwise, they will use the account layout. So system administrator by default will use account layout for any account which does not have a record type, but any account which has a record type, I will start using this. Once I have assigned a record type, I cannot now use the master record type, okay? Because record type has already been assigned and record type has been assigned to me. That means I have to use either of this one or this one. So let's see how that changes my behavior. So if I refresh my screen and go to account now, it is asking me which record type should I create, large account or small account. Okay. Now let us make sure how do that changes. So let's go to account sales layout. And I will say that annual revenue and employee will be there for large account. Okay. GST, annual record, this is fine. For support accounts, you can go to page layout from record tables. For support layout, this is using for small account, right? So I don't need it, though this is not the usage. Support is for support kind of users. Anyway, that's not the point. So here you see annual revenue is there? No. So annual revenue and employee is not there in this layout. Okay. So let's see how this changes. So if I go to large account, you will see annual revenue and employees I have to fill up. But if I create a small account, I don't have an annual revenue or large account to fill up. That field is missing. That means that it is pulling me the support layout because I am choosing the different record type. Is it clear or getting too much complicated for you guys?
That's clear.
Clear? Yeah. Anybody facing any problems? Here, it is important for you to understand that layout on this layout. So another point of a record type is very important is that I have to make sure these record types gives the ability for you to control the pick list values. Let me show you that. So I will go to pick list value and just show you the type. I am going to account type. Let's say that these are not relevant for large accounts. Only prospect, direct, and channel is relevant. Default is prospect. I will go to small account now. And I will go to the same type field. And I will say prospect, direct sales, and channel is not relevant for these. Other is probably my default. I'm not changing other types. You can go and change the others. So let's see how does that impacts now. If I go to account and I select large account, let's go to type. Type is there. Yeah. Type. It is only showing me prospect, direct, and channel because I removed. If I go to small account now, it also has types, but it is different values. So pick list values can be bifurcated based on record type usage. So page layout and pick list both can be controlled using record type. So what kind of record are you creating? Based on that, you can choose your screens by default. Okay, very powerful tool, record type. So we have finished details, field table, record type, record page we discussed today. Now we'll talk about button links and actions. Before that, I will just quickly touch base on compact layout. Again, this is by default given by Salesforce, but you can go ahead and create your own. In account, what is this? It is basically this section on the top. This fields. Type, phone, website, account. Let's see, let's choose something else. Right? So let's say my fields, something on website. Yeah. Account name, type, maybe annual revenue, industry, site is not required, account owner is fine, website not required. Annual revenue comes first. Account name, annual revenue. Phone number. Save. And I have to do assignment. Edit assignment by default. Compact layout, you can assign directly. So my fields is the compact layout. I have assigned it to my fields is my primary. Okay. You can inherit from primary compact, or you can assign separate compact layout for separate record types also. Okay, I am keeping it my fields for all record types. So now what is happening? Watch this. Phone, website, account number, account site, and industry. It takes a while for you to have a look. It's cached usually. Oh, I did not save it. Sorry about that. Oh, this is basically the default account. Let's create a new account. New large account. Paste large. These are the fields which is important for this. You see this change now. Annual revenue is top, phone, type, prospect, account, and revenue. So we changed the default layout. So compact layout is basically controlling what are you seeing on the top. Field says advanced topic will not cover this. Rest, I think we are good. Validation rule we already covered. Rest are advanced topics will not go on those directions not required for you for admittance. Now we'll go to button and link actions. Very important. So you can create a new action, new button or link, but we'll generally create actions, and there are kind of different actions. You can create record and stuff and so on, but you can also fire your flow from here. So this time we are firing our build flow. Okay. Manual contact. See? When you create actions in Lightning, if you go to the page layout, now it is very important for you to understand. So what we are doing right now, we are using support and sales layout, right? Because you are creating large account of support. So you cannot create account layout because it will never fire for you. So go to sales and you see quick actions. And if you see, this is the quick action, and you will see now, so the button, did I create on account or where? I create. Actions. That's fine. That's fine. So it is called manual contact. Let's see the layouts. Here you have the mobile and lightning actions. Okay. If you now type manual contact, it's now available. Okay. By default, Salesforce does not enable you to add a new action on your lightning section. Okay. Because you see, this is the mobile lightning section. If you want to put it here, it will not work, right? You have to, or if you want to put it here, it will not work. This will need a button kind of a action. But if you want to do a lightning action, in that case, you have to override the predefined and put it here and save. When you do that, I have only done this for large actions, large account, right? So you see this one. So if I create a new large account or here, did I save it? Which one did I save? Sales or support? Large account is sales. Manual contact is now available here. See? Now paste again. Here the contact is created but has not got associated because I am not passing the record ID here, right? You see, test again has got created, but the account name has not got created. Here, for passing the values to like a record, but like the button, there are two ways of doing it. So if you go to manual, will see the exact name of that variable needs to be remembered. So it's called record. Exactly, this is the name. So it is very important for you to understand. So let's record ID. Yeah, exactly this character needs to be maintained. Please remember that, otherwise it will not work. So if you now go to this flow once again, and go to that flow once again.
Create
Manual. Yeah. So here I have to create a variable which you can directly. We have saw always we have created new resource, right? Here this time I will create a new resource from here. You can create it. Same thing. Variable. It has to be this one exactly, and it has to be text available for info. Got it? So here I will also create a account ID I have passed here in this. This is the variable. Two variables are there. So I need to now decide whether I am firing this from a embedded screen or I am firing it from a button. Right? Let's just this pick source. Check record ID. I will say record ID equals empty string So I will first check whether the record ID is blank or not. Then I will fire this. Otherwise, the default outcome is to create another record. I can do it this way. Otherwise, very easy way is to just replicate this. There are many ways of doing it. So let's do a easier way first, and then we'll complicate as we go forward. So I'll create another flow. Just called create contact manually to taken second separate source. This time for contact. This time it's called screen element. I will use again. Yeah, screen element component first name. But it's this way. So if it is blank, then go this side. Otherwise, go this side, right? Activate it. It is very important to see how can we see the different versions which we are seeing in our screen. Okay. If you go to this flow, you will see that Many people ask me question, how can I delete a flow? You can delete it from here only. So you see that these are the versions, version 1, version 2. Okay, these are 2 versions. Active version is 2, and you can delete the flow. If you deactivate everything, then you will be able to delete the flow, or you can delete each version also if you want. So this you can flow. So now let's test it once again. I go to account now, test large one, and new manual contact. Let's see if this works. Test manual action. This manual from action is now working, and this is basically firing from this side. So if you are firing it from here, this flow is basically going to this flow is going to this direction, otherwise going to because. Can I do this both together and even do not need a decision? Yeah, we can. Let's complicate this a little more. I will remove this. I will add this here. And here, instead of account ID, I will use a new variable. And this time, I will create a new variable, which is a formula field. Account ID. What is the data type? Of course, is a text field. What is the formula? Here, I can create a formula. My formula is, I need the account ID. I also need the record ID, right? I get both this formula. My formula is if is blank. The formulas which you are using in validation rules and others, we can use it here. Is blank or is blank account is not record ID. Is first I'm checking is blank. Okay, this will return me true or false, right? This can be a condition for my if loop. So I will use if is blank, and I will use account ID. Otherwise, I will use. Are you able to follow? What I am testing here is blank means record ID. If record ID is blank, then use account ID. If record ID is not blank, then use record ID. That's it. So my formula is basically removing the need of my if variable as well as multiple create records. So it can become a little advanced for you to use it, but you can get into this direction and you can test your flows accordingly. So please let us test this. I'm not sure whether it will work or not. Never tested it before. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Working. And manual contact. 2, 3, 1. 1. Working. That means my formula field is my formula variable is basically taking care of simplifying my flow, and it's just a simple switching is taking care of. If that value is there or this value is there, it is using this. Makes it so easy. Yeah, little complicated session today, I know. Go through this I will even more complicate the assignments, which will where you have to use loops and other stuff. And in order to understand a little better about flows, I will also share a session with you that is in Bengali. If you're facing any trouble, let me know. Before that, I would suggest you to also go and study this trailhead. If you go and follow flow, it's very important for you to finish 2 trails. Build flows with Flow Builder, this trail, and there is another flow. I think this is part of our Bongbong Academy, isn't it? No, I have not added that. Probably I will add it here. Give me 1 second. Wow. Not allowing me to I think I have to add that next second. Do I have this flows here? No, I don't have that. Anyway, I'll share this on your batch. Build flows with Flow Builder. There is another trail which you should complete. This one, automate your business process with Salesforce. So take a pause on whatever you are working on the trailheads and finish this trail. Small modules, these are small modules. It will only talk about your flows. Apart from that, we'll also share a video which probably will be helpful for you. I'll share the YouTube channel later. So that video that will cover the rest part. Tell me, any questions so far? So finish up the flow assignment of your current assignment. That will complete your assignment. After that, we'll give 2 flow assignments, only flows. That will get complicated, but before that, you need to finish all these trails. Otherwise, you will not be able to pull it off. Yeah, but flows is the most important module for you to get a job. If you want to crack a job interview, flow is the only key you have, because all the questions are going to come from flows. Flows is the only automation for you. You will be hired as an admin. Otherwise, there is no need for you to, like, nobody is going to use you for any admin job. Just for data loading, just for other purposes, they probably will have someone inside in-house to train and do that. Even a common business user can be trained to do admin, rest of the stuff. But flow automation is the most important piece for which you will be able to get a job if you do not know programming at all. So it is very important for you to understand flows and how to use it for any business purpose. It's so powerful right now that a lot of coding you can just don't need to do that. And if you can do anything through flows, you should not write code for that in Salesforce. Okay. Best practice of flows, every object should have one flow, one before and one after. You can do that for each object, but try to consolidate all flow inside one. What you can do if you need multiple scenarios and getting too complicated, in that case, flows can fire another flow. You can break down a flow into smaller chunks. So if you go to any flow, you'll see a subflow is there. So create a new subflow. For that, you have to use this one. Create this flow, write that flow, and that flow should be fired from either a Screenflow or a record triggered flow. Right? We can also cover the schedule triggered flow, but I think it will get a little overwhelming for you. Not relevant for admin, so I will keep it. If you need a separate class on schedule triggered flow, we can. Schedule triggered flow is nothing different. It's only that you can fire it in the night, like it fires. Let's see this one. It's like you can schedule at one time it will fire, and you can it will fire automatically. There is no screen, so it will work just like your normal record triggered flow. But in record triggered flow, you have an object in record in context, which you can use. In schedule triggered flow, there is no context, so you have to get record and then fire it. You can fire a schedule triggered flow on any object, so you can choose your object. Like I can fire on opportunity, and you can put a condition. So it will fetch all the records, and this flow will fire one by one for each of these records. Okay, you can fire at max 250,000 records in a flow at one shot. That's it. That is all for today's class. If you do not have any questions, then we'll stop it and enjoy your weekend.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.